We got a question from Chris. Chris is in America. There are differences between what we do and what they do. So here we are. This is what Chris sent me originally. Lovely little photograph saying that he's getting no flow through these 4 zones on his underfloor heating. So I said, come on Chris, I need more than that, mate. The next thing he sent me, and you can see he's got a plant room. He's got 2 boilers. There's the flues coming out the left hand side of the boilers, or furnaces as they like to call them. Gas pipes going in. Beautiful job, isn't it? So that's one, but we can just barely see that at the back there are the manifolds for the underfloor heating. So let's see what else he's got. That gives you a bit of context, doesn't it? Actually looks like a warehouse. So there's the flues going up. He's got water softeners. He's got everything going on here, hasn't he? Here you are. We get a bit closer now. We can start to see what's going on. He's got the returns on the top and the flows on the bottom, which is, just not my way of doing it. I usually put the little flow adjusters on the top manifold, and I don't think it makes any real difference. What he's got here, we just can't see behind that flue, but what he's got here is a plate heat exchanger. After I'd said to him it might be air in the manifold and the best thing to do is to blast it through, and I said to him you really need some kind of automatic air valve on there, because without it you're forever bleeding those little air cocks at the end of the manifold if there's any air in the system. So there you are. He's got it piped up as a plate heat exchanger, and there he goes. There's his flow going through there. Here's where he's getting rid of his air. Here's where he's got some kind of filter on, but the filter thing, that may just be an air separator. Looks like an air separator actually, the vortex one, I forget what they're called now. He's got these flows on the bottom and he doesn't have anything there to take the air out of there. So that one's coming from there, that one's coming from there. They're both twinning in, and there's a pump here. The flow's going that way, coming out the heat exchanger, flowing through there. Get a grip, Roger. So it's going through there. So if there's any air collecting in the top, the only place it's going to escape is through that little air cock there. So he's got to keep opening that. Whereas if he put himself, you can stick them on the end, because basically you've got a big tapping there that you can get into. And you could put yourself a nice standpipe up, bit of an elbow on there, with a standpipe up on both of them. And then an air valve on the top of that, so that at least you would collect a fair amount of air as it came through, because we don't know whether this pump, it's got a negative side there, and if there's a micro leak there on one of those joints, if supposing there's something there, you wouldn't necessarily notice it leaking out, but it could be sucking air in. It could be sucking air in through there, it could be sucking air in through any one of these little joints. I mean, he's got all this lot going onto it as well, so goodness knows what all that is. That must be just heating returns coming in from elsewhere. So there's a lot there, isn't there? Hell of a lot there. There's a lot of potential for all this to go badly wrong, really. That's what I'd do. I'd stick an automatic air valve in there on a standpipe, because I like it to collect a bit of air underneath it first. Same on there, little standpipe, little bit of 22mm pipe coming up through there, and then the air cock on the top, and then close all the circuits down that are working, just wind those down, and then open up the other ones. He's got no controls on these at all. These manifolds are manually open all the time. It's not a bad thing. Depends what temperature he's chucking through there. Actually, he's got some gauges here which tell you what the flow temperatures are, and I think they're around 50 Celsius, which is all right. It's not too bad. That's my suggestion, Chris. And if you're a heating engineer, or even if you're just an enthusiastic amateur, I'd love to know what you think of this and whether you can see anything obvious that I've missed, because obviously I do miss things. I'm not infallible by any means, but it's an interesting little system he's got there, isn't it? I say little, it's probably as big as anything, well, it's bigger than anything I've ever put in, so there you go. After I recorded this video, I got an email from Chris to say, thank you. I can now adjust how many gallons per minute I want for each loop. Everything looks to be working fine. If you've got a problem and you'd like some help, get in touch with us using the link in the description. We've got over 1,200 videos covering hundreds of subjects, so don't forget to search our library first.